My daughter Rachel wrote something very insightful in her diary a short time before she was killed in the Columbine tragedy. She said, "I've learned that the first and second and third impressions can be deceitful of what kind of person someone is. Surface beauty can be a disguise for ugliness, and sometimes even hide evil, but only temporarily. On the other hand, an unattractive package may contain an incredible treasure of beauty. Likewise, a person's appearance can be totally deceiving. Take Ted Bundy, for example. This man admitted that he had viciously slaughtered at least 30 women in 4 years. Some reports say that he murdered up to 100 young girls and women. Bundy decapitated 12 of his victims and kept their severed heads as trophies in his apartment. He did unspeakable things to a number of their corpses." Ted Bundy's story touches my life because before we ever met, my wife Sandy was almost one of his victims. She was alone at home when he came to the door and tried to force his way in. Fortunately, she was able to get the door closed and locked in time. The next day, the police discovered the body of a young lady a block away who later was identified as one of Bundy's victims. But this vicious monster was considered charismatic and handsome by many women. His outer appearance was attractive and projected the image of a man you could trust. In fact, even though the details of his horrible deeds were known, numerous women wrote him letters in prison flirting with him. One of them actually married him. Ted Bundy was an example of ugly wearing beauty's clothes. Beauty and Ugly went out for a swim. They put all their clothes on a low-hanging limb. Soon Ugly climbed out. He was ready for bed. He reached for his clothes but grabbed Beauty's instead. When Beauty got out, she had nothing to wear, so she grabbed Ugly's clothes that were still hanging there. Now Beauty is hidden by Ugly's disguise, and Ugly's attractive to gullible eyes. So Ugly gets praised and poor Beauty abused, and too many times people get them confused, because Ugly looks good till he's fully exposed, and Beauty is often disguised by her clothes. But when you look closer, I think you'll agree, most beauty is deeper than what you can see. The opposite of Ted Bundy was Joseph Merrick, who was known as the Elephant Man because of his physical deformities. His appearance was so horrible that he was continually mocked and laughed at. He couldn't even find a decent job because no one would hire him, so he agreed to be put on display and traveled with a circus who labeled him the Elephant Man. Despite his repulsive appearance, Joseph Merrick was one of the finest, kindest, gentlest people who ever lived. A surgeon by the name of Frederick Treves became one of his closest friends, and because of Treves, many of the elite in London society became friends with Joseph, including the Princess of Wales. All of us know people who are pleasant to look at, but unpleasant to be around, and vice versa. Take time this week to practice seeing through the exterior of people in your life and look for the treasure that might be hidden by the packaging. My daughter Rachel also wrote these words: "Look hard enough and you will always find a light, and you can even help it grow if you don't walk away from those first impressions."